The heavy oak doors of Courtroom 3A groaned open, sending a hush over the murmuring crowd. Sunlight streamed through the tall arched windows, illuminating the polished wooden benches and the grand judge's bench at the front of the room. All eyes turned toward the defendant's table, where an unlikely figure sat, his posture straight, his expression unreadable. Aaron Carter, just 19 years old, smoothed out the sleeves of his oversized navy mule suit. His youth was striking in contrast to the seasoned legal professionals that surrounded him. A mixture of curiosity and amusement rippled through the crowd. A teenager in court was nothing new, but a teenager representing himself in a felony case? That was unheard of. Judge Raymond Calloway, a veteran of the bench with over 30 years of experience, adjusted his reading glasses as he scanned the case file. His lined face showed a flicker of irritation. "This must be a mistake," he muttered under his breath. Then, clearing his throat, he turned his gaze toward the defendant. "Mr. Carter," the judge's voice was deep and authoritative, "where is your attorney?" Aaron stood, buttoning his ill-fitting jacket. His movements were deliberate, controlled. He met the judge's gaze with an unwavering confidence that unsettled even the most seasoned professionals in the room. "Your Honor, I'll be representing myself." A collective gasp spread through the courtroom, followed by scattered murmurs of disbelief. A sharp chuckle rang out from the prosecution's table. John Sterling, a well-known bulldog of a prosecutor, leaned forward, tapping his pen against the desk with amusement. "Your Honor, surely this is a joke." He gestured toward Aaron with a smirk. "The defendant is facing a felony burglary charge. He's barely old enough to vote. He's clearly not equipped to handle his own defense." Laughter rippled through the spectators, and even the jury exchanged uncertain glances. Judge Calloway sighed, rubbing his temple. "Mr. Carter, do you understand the severity of these charges? The prosecution claims they have surveillance footage, eyewitness testimony, and forensic evidence linking you to the crime." His voice dropped slightly, almost as if he were giving the boy an out. "If you are convicted, you could be looking at up to 10 years in prison." Aaron didn't blink. "I understand, Your Honor." Sterling's smirk widened. "Then let's get this over with." Judge Calloway hesitated for only a moment before nodding. He had seen plenty of defendants dig their own graves, and this boy seemed eager to start shoveling. "Very well," the judge said, bringing his gavel down. "Let's proceed." Sterling stood immediately, exuding confidence as he strode toward the jury. His voice boomed, commanding attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, this case is simple. The defendant was caught on surveillance footage." He turned and pointed at Aaron, his voice dripping with condescension. "His fingerprints were found on the stolen merchandise. And, most damning of all, an eyewitness saw him fleeing the scene." He folded his arms and smirked. "This isn't some high school debate club. This is the real world, and in the real world, facts don't lie." The jury nodded along, seemingly convinced. Aaron remained impassive. Sterling gestured to the clerk. "Let's start with our first witness." The bailiff called William Thompson, an elderly store clerk, to the stand. Sterling wasted no time. "Mr. Thompson, please describe what you saw on the night of the robbery." The old man adjusted his glasses, his fingers trembling slightly. "I saw him clear as day. He ran out of the store carrying a black duffel bag. He was wearing a gray hoodie and dark jeans." Sterling nodded theatrically. "And can you confirm without a doubt that the defendant sitting here today was the person you saw?" Thompson nodded firmly. "Yes, sir." Aaron finally stood, adjusting his tie. His movements were slow, deliberate. When he spoke, his voice was measured, confident. "Mr. Thompson," he began, "how far were you from the suspect when you saw him?" The old man frowned. "About 40 or 50 feet away." Aaron nodded. "And what time was it?" "Past 9:30 p.m. "Do you wear glasses for distance vision?" The witness hesitated. "Yes, but I wasn't wearing them then." "Didn't think I needed them." Aaron turned to the jury. "So, in the dark, without your glasses, from 50 feet away, you're absolutely certain that it was me?" Thompson shifted in his seat. I think so." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "You think so?" A murmur spread through the courtroom. Sterling's jaw clenched. "Objection! He's badgering the witness. Mr. Thompson, have you ever mistaken someone for somebody else?" The old man looked down. "Well, yeah." Aaron nodded, turning to the jury. "Ladies and gentlemen, I think is not the same as I am certain." Judge Calloway tapped his gavel lightly, signaling for silence. Sterling sighed dramatically. All right, let's move on to forensic evidence. He called Detective Harris to the stand. Detective, can you confirm that the defendant's fingerprints were found on the stolen goods? Yes, Harris said confidently. Sterling smirked at Aaron. I'd love to see you explain this away. Aaron stood. Detective, did you compare my fingerprints to anyone else's? Harris hesitated. No. Aaron smiled. So, in a store where hundreds of people touch items every day, you only tested my fingerprints? The detective shifted uncomfortably. It was a logical assumption. Aaron turned to the jury. A logical assumption, but not proof. Sterling's face paled. The murmurs in the courtroom grew louder. Aaron picked up a document. Your Honor, this is my alibi. Sterling rolled his eyes. Oh, let me guess, your best friend says you were at home? Aaron smirked. No, my alibi is technology. He held up a transcript. At the exact time of the crime, I was logged into a live online law class, debating a case with my professor. The digital timescape is here. Judge Calloway took the document, his face unreadable. He read it slowly, then glanced up. You were in a live law class? Aaron nodded. Sterling's face turned red. That doesn't mean anything. Maybe he left the class and came back. Aaron pulled out another document. Actually, I also passed the bar exam last year. The entire courtroom erupted in gasps. Judge Calloway nearly dropped the paper. You passed the bar exam. Yes, Your Honor. Sterling's mouth fell open. The courtroom fell silent. Judge Calloway rubbed his forehead. Then, after a long pause, he sighed. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution has failed to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. He turned to Aaron. Mr. Carter, you are free to go. The gavel struck. Case dismissed. As Aaron packed his files, Judge Calloway called after him. Mr. Carter. Aaron turned. The judge studied him for a moment before smiling. The law needs minds like yours. Aaron smirked. Don't worry, Your Honor. Next time, I'll be the one standing behind the bench. And with that, he walked out, not as a defendant, but as a legend in the making.